Alright, so first off, I smoke cigarettes, which means that road trips are a great excuse to chain smoke, which means that I'll drive with the windows down and choose not to use the air conditioner, which means that during the drive across Arizona Sonoran Desert, the heat sweeping off the blacktop is blazing through my truck. A few miles back, I passed a gas station marquee that said the temperature is 102 degrees outside. It's probably hotter inside the truck, but the freedom to chain smoke on the open road, for me, takes precedence over the luxury of air conditioning. Cigarettes, they smell awful. So, during the long drive into Phoenix, the nasty, rotting, cinder-like cigarette stink is replaced by a perfume rushing in through the open windows of my truck. It pleasantly funnels in as fast as I'm driving, and the overall smell is sort of like sage and sun-dried peppers. Every little variation in this aroma emanates from a desert ecology as complex as a rainforest. But ventilating my truck with this fragrance comes with the cost of witnessing Arizona's overdevelopment pass by in the windshield. The last 50 miles into Phoenix follows a trail of brightly lit strip malls, all occupied by the same mix of franchise tenants. So at some point it starts to feel like a loop of Quiznos, Blockbusters, Starbucks, and parking lots bordered by cacti. Now, apart from the cacti, this type of landscape isn't unique to Phoenix. It's what the outskirts of American cities look like these days. This will be my third visit to the Southwest. A decade ago, Phoenix was a low, sparsely laid out city domed by a vividly blue desert sky. And at the time, with scarcely any definable skyline, it seemed like the most conspicuous building in the city was the 5-story Central Library. It isn't hard to spot the changes swept along by the currents of recent development. Heading into Phoenix this morning, the sky ascending from a brand new downtown seems muted by a touch of brown. Construction cones and caterpillars straddle medians, likely tearing up the streets and installing larger water lines. But the results are to the benefit of the 280,000 square foot library. A formerly imposing and somewhat detached building, today it seems carefully grounded amid the flood of infill and development. The library is like a large monolith made more discreet now that it's begun to disappear. It was built in 1994 and designed by architect Will Bruder with his friend and fellow architect Wendell Burnett. I've always liked this building. It works like a machine and it's very expressive in broad gestures. A good work of architecture, seen more than once, and always offers new insights into a design, which is why this library is the next stop on my trip. In Phoenix, the average temperature in July is 104 degrees. Maintaining life in this region requires the careful management of water consumption and solar gain. So in the case of the library, every design decision was based around ideas of passive cooling systems. These systems keep the interior impressively cool with very little strain on the active air conditioning system. The library offers free Wi-Fi, but how pleasantly cool it feels inside makes it pretty clear why the residents of this city love it so much. The passive cooling system starts here, at the bottom of the circulation atrium running through all 5 stories of the library. A pool of water at the bottom of the elevator and stairs shaft uses Venturi forces to keep a constant breeze moving through the building. There's a slope to this tunnel, which presumably keeps some of the warm air outside. The sculptural iron formworks that were used to create the interior columns are on display in the library's courtyard. The library remarks on their placards that these formworks are normally disposed of, but can forever be reused if anything happens to the columns on the interior. On the exterior, Bruder creates a double skin with corrugated metal surfaces curving around the east and west facades. They stand a few feet away from the concrete walls on the interior, allowing them to absorb all the early morning and afternoon sun. The south facade is shaded by computer-operated louvers that were unfortunately shut when I visited. The floor-to-ceiling glass on the north facade has a light canvas brise-soleil to compensate for the southwestern summer sun, which rises and sets slightly in the north. Architecture matures like people. Over time, evidence of experience starts showing up first on the skin. Having visited the library before, it was nice to see it take on some age and wear now that the neighborhood of Phoenix is growing up around it. I'm always going to enjoy this library, and I thought perhaps this library would be the focal point of my Phoenix tour, much of which are buildings by Will Bruder. But as I discover a few days from now, a museum in Scottsdale by Bruder becomes the highlight of my visit.
I'm from L.A. California A hot. Days got shade. Let me take you round the way.
Well, you guys are doing really good. You're doing exactly what Mr. Wright told you to do.
A lot of out-of-towners can't handle this city where you wear the wrong color and it can get tricky. But that was 86 and things done changed.
He's always telling you what to do.
We a lot more evolved with the way that we bang. Not the rips and the dogs, man, the smart might kill you. But you ain't gotta worry if you're staying north of Wilshire.